Come on,
The
get up!
Apache woman was
have to move
dragged
now.
to the rancher's ranch, but he was not the monster she thought he was. Nayeli had always lived her life close to the land, in a small Apache village surrounded by rolling hills and open skies. Her days were simple but full. She helped her family gather herbs, fetch water from the nearby river, and care for the younger children in the village. She knew every trail, every rock, and every tree in the area. The mountains behind their village had always felt like guardians, keeping her people safe. Life was quiet, predictable, and comforting. Nayeli liked it that way. She felt connected to her home, and the world beyond the hills seemed distant and unfamiliar. But that sense of security did not last. One morning, as the village slowly stirred awake, Nayeli was startled by shouts and the pounding of hooves. The sound of horses approaching made her heart race. From the trees, she saw strangers riding fast, their faces partially covered. Panic gripped her as she realized her world was about to change. Nayeli ran, but the men were faster. Within minutes, they had surrounded her. She tried to scream, but fear caught in her throat. Her mind spun with thoughts of danger. Who were these people? What did they want? She had heard stories about outsiders taking people from their villages, and every terrifying tale she had ever been told now felt real. Before she could react further, one of the men grabbed her arm, and another pushed her onto a horse. Nayeli struggled with all her strength, kicking and twisting, but it was useless. They had her. As the horse began to move, she glanced back at her village. Her mother was shouting, but Nayeli could do nothing to reach her. Tears stung her eyes, but she forced herself to stay quiet. Panic made it hard to think, yet in the depths of her fear, she tried to make sense of what was happening. The journey to the ranch was long and uncomfortable. The men rode in silence, and Nayeli's fear grew with every passing hour. She imagined the worst. In her mind, she saw cruel faces and harsh punishments. She believed the rancher who owned this place must be a monster, a man with no heart. After all, why would someone take her from her home unless he meant harm? She tried to hide her fear, but her trembling hands betrayed her. The men noticed and exchanged quiet words, but Nayeli could not understand them. The thought that she was completely alone in this strange world made her feel smaller than she had ever felt. Finally, the group reached the ranch. From a distance, Nayeli could see a large house surrounded by fences and open fields. Horses grazed nearby and a few workers moved about, tending to the land. The ranch seemed peaceful, almost like her village, but the fear in her chest refused to fade. The men led her to the main house, and there he was, the rancher. Nayeli's first impression confirmed all her fears. He was a tall man with a stern expression. His eyes were sharp, and his presence felt imposing. She froze, certain that this man would be cruel. Every story she had ever heard about outsiders being unkind flashed through her mind. But then something unusual happened. The rancher did not yell at her. He did not shout or make threats. Instead, he looked at her with a calm, steady gaze. Nayeli could not read it. Was this a trick? Was he pretending to be kind before showing his cruelty? She clenched her fists and tried to steel herself. Nayeli had learned that fear could be a weapon, and she would not give him the satisfaction of seeing her break. For the next few hours, Nayeli watched everything around her. She noticed how the workers treated the rancher, not with fear but with respect. He spoke quietly and kindly to them, giving instructions without harsh words. Nayeli's curiosity grew, even as her fear remained. Could it be possible that this man was different from what she had imagined? She shook her head, unwilling to accept it. She had been taught to mistrust outsiders, to expect danger from those who were not like her people. Her instincts told her to run, but the fences and the men who had brought her here made that impossible. As the day turned into evening, Nayeli found herself sitting alone in a small room inside the house. The walls were plain, but there was a warmth in the air from a small fire. She was given food, simple but nourishing. For the first time since being taken, she felt a strange sense of comfort, even though fear still lingered. She thought about her family, about the village she had left behind. How long would she be here? Would she ever see them again? The uncertainty gnawed at her, but there was also a spark of curiosity. Naeli began to notice small details she had overlooked at first. The rancher moved carefully around the house, checking on things, making sure the workers were safe and the animals fed. He did not rush or yell. He listened. He watched. Naeli saw patience in his eyes, something she had never expected. She could not help but wonder why he acted this way. Was it possible that he was not the monster she had imagined? The thought made her uneasy. Could someone really be this kind and still be strong? Naeli realized that her fear might be clouding her judgment. That night, as she lay on a simple bed, she thought about the day. The sun had set and the ranch was quiet. The sounds of animals and the soft rustle of leaves outside filled the air. Naeli's mind was restless, torn between fear and curiosity. She thought of her people, her home, and the world she had known. And yet she also thought of the rancher, the calmness in his voice, the fairness he showed to others. Her heart told her that maybe, just maybe, appearances could be misleading. Sleep finally came, but not without dreams. In her mind, she saw faces of both fear and kindness. The day had been a mixture of terror and small, surprising moments of safety. Naeli realized that this journey was not just about being taken from her village. It was also about learning to see the world differently. The rancher, whom she had expected to be cruel, was not acting like the monsters of the stories she had been told. And in that realization, a tiny seed of hope began to grow. By morning, Naeli was still cautious. She did not trust easily, and her instincts were strong. But she also felt a flicker of curiosity, a desire to understand this strange place and the people in it. The world outside her village was vast and unknown, full of surprises both good and bad. Naeli knew that fear could not guide her forever. If she wanted to survive and make sense of her new reality, she would have to watch, learn, and decide for herself who could be trusted. As she stepped outside to see the ranch bathed in morning light, Naeli took a deep breath. She felt small, but also aware. The journey ahead was uncertain, and the rancher was still a mystery. Yet, for the first time since she had been taken, Naeli wondered if there might be more to this man than she had feared. And with that thought, the first chapter of her unexpected journey had begun. The morning sun rose over the ranch, casting long shadows across the fields and painting the hills in golden light. Naeli watched from the small porch of the house, her eyes following the movements of the ranch hands as they began their daily chores. There was a rhythm to their work that she did not understand at first, feeding the animals, checking fences, carrying supplies from one place to another. But she began to notice the careful way they moved. Each action was deliberate and steady, almost like a dance she had never learned but wanted to understand. Naeli felt a mix of curiosity and fear. The ranch was still strange to her, and she did not trust it completely. She had been taught to fear outsiders, to expect danger in every unknown place. Yet something about the calm way the workers spoke to each other, the respect they showed to the rancher, and the quiet order of the place made her question her assumptions. Could it be that this world, so different from her village, held more than just fear and danger? Naeli did not know, but a small part of her wanted to find out. The rancher, Mr. Whitman, appeared soon after sunrise. He walked across the yard with a purposeful stride, checking the fences and speaking quietly to the workers. Naeli observed him from a distance, her heart still pounding with caution. She had expected him to be harsh, maybe even angry at her presence, but he showed no sign of hostility. Instead, there was a calm confidence in his movements, a sense of care for the land and the people who worked on it. Naeli's curiosity grew, even as her fear remained. At breakfast, Naeli was served simple food, a piece of bread, some fresh milk, and a little fruit. She ate slowly, her hands trembling slightly as she tried to appear calm. Mr. Whitman watched her quietly, not pressing her to eat faster or saying anything harsh. He simply nodded when she looked at him, and there was something in his eyes that made her feel almost safe. It was confusing. How could someone who had the power to be cruel choose to be kind instead? Nayeli did not understand it, but she knew she wanted to learn more. The morning passed slowly, and Nayeli spent much of it observing the ranch. She noticed the animals grazing peacefully, the workers moving with care, and the rancher speaking kindly but firmly. She began to see a pattern, a system built on respect rather than fear. Nayeli realized that perhaps the strength of this place did not come from harshness or cruelty, but from discipline and understanding. The thought was new and unsettling, yet it sparked a flicker of hope in her heart. As the day went on, Nayeli was given small tasks to help with the ranch. At first, she hesitated, unsure of what to do. But a young worker named Samuel approached her and spoke in simple, friendly words, showing her how to carry water to the animals. Nayeli watched him carefully, copying his movements. She stumbled a few times, spilling some water, but Samuel only smiled and helped her correct her mistake. It was the first time since being taken from her village that Nayeli felt a small sense of accomplishment. She realized that mistakes were not punished here, they were corrected with patience. Later, Mr. Whitman approached her. Nayeli's heart beat faster, expecting a harsh word or a scolding, but he only nodded toward the animals she had helped feed. "Good work," he said simply. His voice was calm, without anger or judgment. Nayeli felt a strange warmth in her chest, a mix of relief and surprise. For the first time, she began to see the rancher as a person, not a monster. He had power, yes, but he used it with care. She wondered why he treated people this way when so many in the stories she had heard were cruel and selfish. Throughout the afternoon, Nayeli continued to learn the routines of the ranch. She helped gather eggs from the chickens, carried hay to the animals, and even assisted with mending a fence. Each task was new and sometimes difficult, but Nayeli found satisfaction in the work. She noticed that the rancher never forced her to do anything she could not manage. He observed from a distance, stepping in only when guidance was needed. Nayeli began to realize that trust and patience were not weaknesses, they were strengths. Despite her growing curiosity, Nayeli could not fully let go of her fear. She still expected that at any moment the rancher might reveal the cruelty she had imagined. She stayed alert, watching his every movement, listening carefully to his words. Yet the more she observed, the more her assumptions began to crumble. The rancher was strong but fair. He was authoritative but kind. Nayeli felt a confusing mix of emotions, fear, curiosity, and even a faint sense of admiration. In the late afternoon, a small incident occurred that tested Nayeli's understanding of the ranch. One of the horses became frightened and bolted across the field, panicking and kicking its legs wildly. Nayeli froze, unsure of what to do. The rancher immediately stepped forward, his voice calm and commanding. "Easy now, boy," he said softly, approaching the horse with steady movements. Nayeli watched in awe as he guided the animal back to safety, showing courage and care at the same time. She realized that true strength was not about intimidation. It was about knowing how to act wisely in difficult situations. After the horse was secured, Mr. Whitman turned to Nayeli. "Don't be afraid," he said gently. "Sometimes the world seems scarier than it really is. The important thing is to stay calm and watch carefully." Nayeli nodded, feeling a strange mix of relief and respect. She had expected anger, punishment, or harsh words, but instead, she received understanding and guidance. The realization began to sink in that her first impressions of this man were wrong. He was not the monster she had feared. He was someone who could teach her, protect her, and even help her grow. As evening approached, the ranch grew quiet. Workers finished their tasks and returned to their homes, and the animals settled for the night. Nayeli sat outside, looking at the horizon, thinking about the events of the day. Her fear had not disappeared entirely, but it had lessened. She had learned that appearances could be deceiving, and that strength and kindness could exist together. Nayeli realized that her own judgments had been shaped by stories and fears, not by reality. The world outside her village was different, yes, but it was not necessarily cruel or dangerous. That night, as Nayeli prepared for bed, Mr. Whitman came to check on her. He asked if she was comfortable and if she needed anything. His voice was calm, and his expression showed genuine concern. Nayeli felt a wave of gratitude she had not expected. She realized that trust was something that had to be earned, and perhaps it could be built even in the most unexpected places. The rancher had earned a small measure of her trust that day, simply by being consistent, patient, and fair. As she lay on her simple bed, Nayeli thought about the future. She did not know how long she would remain at the ranch or what challenges awaited her, but she felt a sense of determination. She wanted to learn, to observe, and to understand. The fear that had gripped her since being taken from her village was still there, but it was now mixed with curiosity and cautious hope. Nayeli realized that her journey was just beginning, and the lessons she would learn here could change the way she saw the world forever. In the quiet of the night, Nayeli reflected on the day's events. She remembered the calm way the rancher spoke, the patience of the workers, and the gentle guidance she had received. She realized that trust and understanding could exist even in places she had feared the most. Nayeli felt a small spark of courage. She knew that the days ahead would test her, but she also knew that she was not powerless. She could watch, learn, and decide for herself what was right. As the stars appeared in the sky, Nayeli allowed herself a moment of peace. She had survived her first day at the ranch, and in doing so she had discovered something important. That fear could be challenged, that appearances could be misleading, and that even in a world that seemed strange and frightening, there could be kindness and fairness. Nayeli closed her eyes, feeling both anxious and hopeful, ready to face whatever the next day would bring. The next morning, Nayeli woke to the soft sounds of the ranch. Birds were singing, and the animals moved quietly in the fields. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a warm light over the land. Nayeli felt a mixture of anticipation and caution. She had learned a little about the ranch and its people, but she knew that every day could bring something new and unexpected. Today, however, she would see a side of the rancher that she could not have imagined. As she stepped outside, Nayeli noticed that the workers were busier than usual. They were preparing for a long day in the fields, moving supplies and checking on the animals. Nayeli was assigned small tasks again, helping carry water and feed the chickens. She moved carefully, trying not to make mistakes. Samuel, the young worker who had guided her before, walked beside her, offering quiet encouragement. "You are doing well," he said softly. "Don't worry if it's hard. We all start somewhere." Nayeli nodded, feeling a quiet pride. Even small accomplishments were beginning to matter to her. Suddenly, a shout echoed across the ranch. Nayeli froze, her heart pounding. She saw a group of horses bolting near the fence, their panic spreading quickly. One of the animals had spooked the others, and chaos was spreading fast. Nayeli watched helplessly as the workers tried to calm the animals. Her first instinct was to run, but she remembered what she had seen yesterday, the calm authority of Mr. Whitman. Perhaps he could handle this. Mr. Whitman appeared almost instantly. His presence was commanding but calm. He spoke softly to the animals, his voice steady and reassuring. Nayeli could not believe how quickly the horses began to respond. The rancher moved carefully among them, guiding them back to safety without raising his voice or using force. Nayeli's fear slowly transformed into awe. She had expected a harsh man, one who would shout and punish, but here was someone brave, patient, and in control. She realized that true courage was quiet and careful, not loud and violent. After the horses were secured, Mr. Whitman turned to Nayeli and the workers. "Everyone okay?" he asked gently. The workers nodded, and Nayeli realized she had been holding her breath. "Good work," he said. "Now let's make sure everything else is safe." His words were simple, but they carried reassurance and respect. Nayeli felt something she had not felt before. She trusted him in a way she had never trusted an outsider. Her fear was still there, but it was no longer overwhelming. As the day continued, Nayeli observed more acts of kindness from the rancher. He helped a young boy repair a broken fence, guiding his hands and showing him the proper way to secure the posts. He checked on the animals, making sure each one was healthy and comfortable. He even took time to speak to Samuel, asking about his family and listening patiently to his answers. Nayeli realized that this man cared deeply about the people around him, not just for what they could do, but for who they were. Nayeli was given the chance to help with a task she had never done before, collecting eggs from the chickens and carefully placing them in baskets. At first, she was nervous, afraid she would break the eggs or make a mistake. "Mr. Whitman came to her side and showed her how to handle the fragile shells gently. His hands were steady and his voice was calm. Nayeli followed his instructions carefully, and to her surprise, she succeeded. She looked up at him, expecting a harsh word if she had failed, but instead he smiled. "Well done," he said simply. Nayeli felt a warmth in her heart, a mixture of pride and gratitude. Later, a small accident happened. One of the workers slipped while carrying a heavy sack of grain. Nayeli instinctively ran to help, but it was Mr. Whitman who acted first. He lifted the sack, steadied the worker, and ensured that no one was hurt. Nayeli watched in amazement as he handled the situation with care and skill. There was no anger, no shouting, only a calm determination to keep everyone safe. Nayeli realized that this man, whom she had feared, had a quiet strength that commanded respect without demanding it. As the afternoon sun climbed higher, Nayeli began to understand the rhythm of the ranch. Every action had a purpose, and every decision was made with thought and care. She noticed how the rancher moved among the people, observing, guiding, and helping when needed. He was not a tyrant or a cruel man. He was a leader in the truest sense, someone who inspired trust and cooperation through kindness and competence. Nayeli felt her heart opening to a new understanding. The world she had feared was not always cruel. Sometimes it was full of people like Mr. Whitman, whose strength came from their heart, not their power. During a brief rest, Nayeli sat under a tree and watched the rancher tend to a small fire, checking that the animals had water and the workers had shade. She noticed the way he spoke softly to the animals, the way he encouraged the workers, and the way he carried himself with patience and dignity. Nayeli realized that she had been wrong to judge him so quickly. He was not a monster. He was a man shaped by his experiences, capable of both courage and compassion. For the first time since being taken from her village, Nayeli felt a sense of hope. The day was not without challenges. A sudden gust of wind threatened to knock over a stack of hay, and Nayeli instinctively rushed to help. Mr. Whitman saw her efforts and nodded in approval, guiding her hands to steady the stack. Nayeli realized that she was learning more than just tasks. She was learning how to act with confidence, how to observe carefully, and how to trust in others. Every small moment became a lesson, and Nayeli felt herself growing stronger, not just in body, but in mind and heart. As evening approached, the ranch settled into calm again. Nayeli helped gather the tools and return them to their places. She noticed that the workers were tired but content, their faces showing satisfaction rather than fear or stress. Mr. Whitman walked among them, offering encouragement and gentle guidance. Nayeli felt a deep sense of admiration for him. She realized that leadership was not about fear or power. It was about care, patience, and respect. And she was beginning to see the world through this new lens. That night, as Nayeli prepared for bed, she reflected on the day's events. She thought about the frightened horses, the careful guidance of the rancher, and the acts of kindness she had witnessed. Her fear had not disappeared completely, but it had lessened. She had learned that true strength could coexist with compassion, and that courage could be shown through careful, thoughtful actions rather than harsh words or violence. Nayeli felt a growing respect for Mr. Whitman, and with it, a small sense of trust. Before closing her eyes, Nayeli thought about her own journey. She had been taken from her home, thrust into a world she did not understand, and faced with a man she had feared. But through her observations, she had begun to see the truth, that appearances could be deceiving, and that kindness and courage often lived where one least expected them. Nayeli realized that her journey was not just about surviving the ranch. It was about learning, growing, and discovering the strength within herself. As the stars appeared in the night sky, Nayeli felt a quiet determination. She would continue to observe, to learn, and to understand. The rancher had shown her that the world could be different from what she had feared, and she wanted to see more of it for herself. The day had been challenging, surprising, and full of lessons. Nayeli knew that there would be more challenges ahead, but she also knew that she was no longer just a frightened girl. She was becoming someone capable of seeing the good in others, even when it was hard to find. With a deep breath, Nayeli closed her eyes and let herself rest. She knew that tomorrow would bring new tasks, new lessons, and new opportunities to grow. And for the first time since being taken from her village, she felt a sense of hope and courage. The world beyond her home was not just a place of fear. It was a place where she could learn, where she could discover strength, and where she could witness the quiet acts of humanity that could change her understanding of life forever. The morning air was crisp, and the soft sunlight illuminated the ranch in a golden glow. Nayeli woke feeling a strange mixture of anticipation and calm. Over the past few days, she had begun to see the rancher, Mr. Whitman, in a new light. He was not the cruel man she had feared. He was patient, kind, and surprisingly gentle. Yet there was still so much she did not know about him. Today, she decided quietly that she would try to understand him better. As she stepped outside, Nayeli noticed Mr. Whitman already tending to the animals. He moved carefully, speaking softly to the horses and cattle, checking that each one was healthy and comfortable. Nayeli paused, watching him. There was a rhythm in his work, a calmness that seemed to flow from him to the animals and workers alike. It struck her that he led not through fear but through respect and understanding. Nayeli wanted to learn more, not just about the ranch, but about the man who ran it with such quiet strength. The workers were busy preparing for the day's chores. Samuel approached Nayeli again, smiling gently. "Would you like to help with the garden today?" he asked. Nayeli nodded. Gardening was something she understood from her village life, and she felt a sense of comfort at the thought of working with the soil again. Together, they walked to the garden, where rows of vegetables and herbs grew. Nayeli noticed how carefully Mr. Whitman inspected the plants, checking for pests or signs of illness. He moved among them with patience, explaining quietly to the workers how to care for the crops. Nayeli realized that he had a deep respect not only for people but for the land itself. As the morning passed, Nayeli worked alongside Samuel, planting seeds and tending the soil. Mr. Whitman occasionally walked by, offering advice and encouragement. "Be gentle with the roots," he said softly. "They need time and care to grow strong." Nayeli felt a warmth in her chest. Even in the smallest actions, he showed consideration and thoughtfulness. She began to understand that kindness could be shown in simple, everyday acts, not just in grand gestures. During a brief rest, Nayeli and Samuel sat under a tree. Nayeli took a deep breath and decided to ask a question she had been thinking about for days. "Why are you so kind?" she asked softly. "I thought people like you were supposed to be harsh." Samuel smiled, looking at her thoughtfully. "He is different," he said simply. "He treats people fairly because he believes in respect. You will see. He is not the man you think he is." Naomi nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and curiosity. She wanted to understand him more, to see why he acted the way he did. Later, an unexpected challenge arose. A small group of sheep had wandered away from the pen, and Naomi watched as the rancher quickly organized a plan to bring them back safely. He guided the workers, showing them where to stand and how to move without frightening the animals. Naomi wanted to help, but she was unsure of what to do. Mr. Whitman noticed her hesitation and came to her side. "You can help by watching carefully," he said gently. "Notice their movements, learn their behavior. You will see how to guide them safely." Naomi followed his instructions, observing closely. Slowly, she began to understand not only the task but the patience and care required to lead with respect rather than force. After the sheep were returned, Naomi walked beside Mr. Whitman as he checked the fences and gates. She realized she had questions about him, about his life, and why he treated people the way he did. Gathering courage, she asked, "Why do you care so much about everyone here, Mr.?" Whitman looked at her with a calm, thoughtful expression. "Because every person and every living thing deserves care," he said. "Strength is not about making others afraid of you. Strength is about knowing how to protect and guide without causing harm." Naomi felt a wave of understanding wash over her. She had believed that power came from fear, but here was a man who showed her a different kind of power, one built on respect, patience, and kindness. The afternoon brought more opportunities for learning. Naomi helped gather water for the animals and carry baskets of vegetables to the workers. Mr. Whitman moved among them, giving guidance where needed and encouragement where deserved. Naomi noticed how he remembered small details about each worker, their strengths, their families, their struggles. He spoke to them not as subordinates but as individuals, and Naomi realized that this was part of what made him a true leader. Respect and empathy were not weaknesses, they were the foundation of trust. During a short break, Mr. Whitman sat beside Naomi under the shade of a tree. He did not speak at first, allowing her to gather her thoughts. Naomi found herself opening up, telling him about her life in the village, her family, and her fears. He listened quietly, nodding occasionally, never interrupting or judging. Naomi felt a sense of relief she had not expected. She realized that this man whom she had feared could be trusted. His attention was calm and steady, not demanding or harsh. For the first time, she felt a connection, not just curiosity. Later, a minor emergency occurred. One of the young workers tripped and twisted his ankle. Naomi froze, unsure of what to do. Mr. Whitman immediately took charge, gently helping the boy to a safe place and calling for water and bandages. Naomi watched as he cared for the worker, speaking soothingly and moving with careful hands. She realized that true courage was not just in facing danger, but in responding calmly and thoughtfully when others needed help. She began to see that the rancher's strength was not loud or violent. It was quiet, steady, and compassionate. As evening approached, Naomi found herself reflecting on the day. She had observed not only the work of the ranch, but also the way Mr. Whitman interacted with others. She saw how he treated each person with fairness and dignity, how he valued their efforts, and how he remained calm even in challenging situations. Naomi realized that her initial fears had been based on assumptions and stories, not reality. The man she had feared was not cruel. He was wise, patient, and deeply kind. That night, Naomi prepared for bed and thought about the lessons she had learned. She had begun to understand that the world could be different from what she had feared, that appearances could be misleading, and that trust and respect were powerful tools for building relationships. Naomi felt a quiet gratitude for the opportunity to witness this firsthand. She realized that she was learning not just about the ranch but about herself, her own fears, her judgments, and her capacity to trust and understand others. As she lay under the soft blankets, Naomi thought about her journey. She had been taken from her village and thrust into a world she did not understand. Yet, in this new place, she had discovered lessons that were more valuable than she could have imagined. The rancher had shown her that strength could coexist with kindness, that leadership could be gentle as well as firm, and that courage was often quiet and patient. Nayeli felt a growing respect for him, and with it, a deepening connection. In the quiet of the night, Nayeli reflected on her growth. She realized that understanding and connection required patience, observation, and a willingness to look beyond fear and assumptions. She thought about the workers, the animals, and the land itself, and she felt a sense of belonging beginning to take root. The rancher had opened a door to a new way of seeing the world, and Nayeli was stepping through it, learning to see people and situations not just with her eyes but with her heart. Before closing her eyes, Nayeli made a quiet promise to herself. She would continue to observe, to learn, and to grow. She would watch carefully, asking questions when needed, and seeking to understand rather than judge. The world outside her village was vast and full of surprises, and she now understood that it could hold kindness, courage, and humanity even in the most unexpected places. Nayeli felt a sense of calm determination. She would face the days ahead with an open heart and a thoughtful mind, ready to learn and ready to connect. As the stars appeared in the sky, Nayeli allowed herself to feel a quiet joy. She had seen the rancher's true character and begun to form a connection built on trust and understanding. She knew that challenges would still come, but she also knew that she was no longer just a frightened girl. She was becoming someone capable of seeing the good in others, even when it was hidden beneath unfamiliarity or fear. With that thought, Nayeli drifted into sleep, ready to face the next day with courage and hope. The morning sun rose slowly over the ranch, painting the fields and hills in warm golden light. Nayeli awoke with a sense of calm and purpose. Over the past days, she had learned much about the ranch, the workers, and especially Mr. Whitman. She had faced fear, observed kindness, and slowly discovered trust. Today, she realized, would be a day of reflection and understanding, a day to see how far she had come since the moment she had been taken from her village. As she stepped outside, Nayeli noticed the familiar rhythm of the ranch. The animals moved quietly in the fields, and the workers were busy preparing for the day's chores. Mr. Whitman was already walking through the yard, checking on the fences and ensuring that the animals were safe. Nayeli watched him with admiration. She remembered how she had first seen him, tall, stern, and frightening, and she could hardly believe the transformation in her own perception. The man she had feared was not cruel. He was patient, kind, and deeply thoughtful. Nayeli's morning began with helping Samuel and the other workers tend the garden. She had grown more confident in her tasks and moved with a sense of purpose. As they worked, she reflected on how much she had learned. She remembered her first days, filled with fear and mistrust, and compared them to now, when she could observe calmly, learn patiently, and even help others. She realized that understanding took time, and trust could grow when nurtured with care. Later, Mr. Whitman approached Nayeli with a gentle smile. "You have learned quickly," he said. "I can see that you are observant and careful." Nayeli felt a warmth in her chest. His words were simple, but they carried genuine recognition and encouragement. She realized that he valued not only skill but effort, care, and attention. This was a lesson she had not expected to learn so soon, that people could appreciate others not for who they were, but for the choices they made and the effort they put forth. As the morning continued, a small problem arose. One of the animals had wandered too far from the pen, and Nayeli could see it pacing nervously near the edge of the field. Without hesitation, Mr. Whitman acted. He guided the animal back gently, speaking softly and moving carefully so as not to frighten it. Nayeli followed his movements closely, learning how to act with patience and confidence. She realized that leadership was not about commands or force. It was about understanding, guiding, and supporting others, whether human or animal. After the animal was safely returned, Nayeli spent time reflecting on the lessons she had learned. She remembered her fears, her assumptions, and the stories she had been told about outsiders. She realized how much of her judgment had been based on fear rather than knowledge. Mr. Whitman had shown her a different way to see the world, a way in which courage, kindness, and patience could exist together. Nayeli felt a sense of gratitude for the opportunity to witness this firsthand. As the day moved forward, Nayeli helped the workers with various tasks. She carried baskets of vegetables, fed the animals, and even assisted in repairing a small fence. Each task, no matter how simple, became a chance to observe, learn, and grow. Nayeli began to notice the small ways in which Mr. Whitman cared for those around him, checking if anyone needed water, speaking quietly to encourage and guide, and observing each action with thoughtful attention. She realized that his strength lay not in harshness, but in his ability to inspire trust and cooperation. During a quiet moment, Nayeli approached Mr. Whitman. "I have learned so much here," she said softly. "I was afraid at first, but now I see things differently. You are not the man I thought you were." Mr. Whitman looked at her with calm, kind eyes. "I understand," he said gently. "Fear can make us see danger where it does not exist. Understanding comes from patience, observation, and courage." Nayeli nodded, feeling a deep sense of clarity. She realized that her journey was not just about learning the ways of the ranch. It was about learning to see the world clearly and to trust in the goodness of others. Later in the afternoon, the ranch faced another small challenge. A sudden gust of wind threatened to scatter tools and supplies. Nayeli watched as Mr. Whitman quickly organized the workers, instructing them calmly on how to secure everything. He moved with confidence, yet without force or anger. Nayeli helped where she could, applying the lessons she had learned. She noticed how the workers responded to his calm authority, following his guidance with trust rather than fear. Nayeli realized that this was the kind of leadership she had never truly known, one based on respect, care, and cooperation. As evening approached, Nayeli took a moment to walk around the ranch. The fields were quiet, and the animals were settling for the night. She reflected on her own journey, thinking about the fear and mistrust that had filled her heart when she first arrived. She remembered the terrifying ride to the ranch, the uncertainty of the first days, and the assumptions she had made about Mr. Whitman. Now she felt a sense of peace and understanding. She had learned that appearances could be misleading, and that true courage and kindness often existed in unexpected places. That night, as she prepared for bed, Nayeli reflected on her growth. She realized that she had not only learned about the ranch and its routines, but also about herself. She had discovered patience, observation, courage, and empathy. She had learned to trust, not blindly, but carefully, and to see the world through a lens of understanding rather than fear. Nayeli understood that the journey she had begun was not only about survival, it was about transformation, learning, and the discovery of human goodness. Before closing her eyes, Nayeli thought about the choice that awaited her. She could return to her village, to the life she had known before, or she could remain at the ranch, continuing to learn and grow in this new world. She realized that the decision was not about fear or comfort, but about understanding and opportunity. The rancher had shown her that the world could be full of kindness, strength, and wisdom, and she wanted to carry these lessons with her wherever she went. As the stars appeared in the night sky, Nayeli felt a quiet gratitude. She had been taken from her home, thrust into an unfamiliar place, and faced with a man she had feared. Yet through careful observation, patience, and reflection, she had discovered the truth, that Mr. Whitman was not a monster, but a man of integrity, courage, and compassion. Nayeli understood that people were often more complex than they appeared, and that fear and prejudice could cloud judgment. Nayeli also reflected on the friendships she had begun to form. Samuel and the other workers had welcomed her, guided her, and treated her with respect. She realized that trust was a two-way street, built on understanding, patience, and kindness. Nayeli felt a sense of belonging that she had never expected to find outside her village. She understood that her journey had changed her, teaching her to see the world more clearly, to act with courage, and to appreciate the goodness in others. Before falling asleep, Nayeli made a quiet promise to herself. She would continue to observe, learn, and grow. She would remember the lessons of the ranch, the patience, the kindness, and the courage of Mr. Whitman, and carry them into her own life. She would share what she had learned, teaching others that fear and assumptions could be replaced with understanding and trust. Nayeli realized that her journey was not just about surviving the ranch, but about becoming a wiser, stronger, and more compassionate person. In the silence of the night, Nayeli felt a deep sense of peace. She had faced fear, observed kindness, and learned to trust. She had discovered that true strength was not measured by harshness or power, but by patience, courage, and care for others. Nayeli understood that she had grown in ways she had never imagined, and that the lessons she had learned at the ranch would stay with her forever. As the first light of dawn touched the fields, Nayeli closed her eyes and allowed herself a quiet smile. She had come a long way from the frightened girl who had been taken from her village. She had learned about the world, about people, and about herself. And she knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them with courage, understanding, and a heart open to the goodness in others. Nayeli had discovered that even in unexpected places, kindness and humanity could be found, and that discovery had changed her forever.